The old seer trembled, his voice rasped, echoing through the chamber.
He returns.
Fear choked the air. Lena, Kai, Rai, Zara, and Orion exchanged nervous glances. They were the chosen warriors destined to face this threat.
Morak! The seer croaked, his eyes filled with visions of doom. The demon king, he rises again.
The prophecy was ancient, passed down through generations, a warning about an unstoppable evil. Until now it had been just a story. Morak, they knew, fed on chaos. He grew stronger with every defeat, a terrifying enemy. The weight of their responsibility settled on their young shoulders. They were the only ones who stood between their world and utter destruction.
You five, the seer rasped, pointing a gnarled finger. The Force Crystal calls to you. Find its pieces, unite them, it is your only hope.
Their destinies were sealed. Lena felt a surge of power within her. It crackled through her veins, raw and untamed. Her piece of the Force Crystal, a shimmering blue gem, pulsed warmly against her chest. Each warrior possessed a piece, a different color, a different energy.
Kai, the strategist, held a green gem. It glowed faintly, reflecting his calm demeanor. He studied ancient texts, deciphering the secrets of the Force Crystal. His mind was sharp, his intellect a weapon.
Rai, the fierce warrior woman, gripped her red gem. It pulsed like a beating heart, mirroring her passionate nature. She trained relentlessly, honing her combat skills to a razor's edge. She was ready to fight.
Zara, the stealthy tracker, fingered her yellow gem. It flickered with an inner light, mirroring her quick wit. She moved like a shadow, her senses sharp, always observing. She was the eyes and ears of their group.
Orion, the powerful healer, watched his purple gem softly glow. It emanated warmth and life, reflecting his compassionate heart. He practiced his healing arts, determined to mend any wound, physical or emotional. He was the heart of their group. They trained for weeks. Each day their powers grew. They learned to control the energy of the Force Crystal. They discovered how to combine their abilities, creating a symphony of power. But time was running out.
The first sign of Morak's return was subtle, a chill in the air, an uneasy stillness. Animals fled their homes. The land itself seemed to tremble. Fear spread like wildfire.
Their journey to the Temple of Forces was fraught with danger. They battled monstrous creatures, Morak's minions, sent to stop them. Each victory, however, came at a cost. They were learning the true price of power. They pushed forward, driven by their duty, their fear. Their individual strengths, honed through hardship, began to blend. They were becoming more than just warriors. They were becoming a team. They found him in a desolate wasteland. Morak, a towering figure of darkness and rage. His eyes burned with malevolent fire. His laughter echoed across the barren landscape. He was a nightmare made flesh.
The first battle was a blur of chaos. They fought with everything they had. Lena unleashed waves of pure energy. Kai devised cunning traps. Rai fought with ferocious intensity. Zara struck from the shadows. Orion healed their wounds as quickly as they appeared.
But Morak just laughed. He absorbed their attacks, his power growing with each blow. They realized with growing horror the truth of the prophecy. He was getting stronger. They were outmatched.
Fools! Morak boomed, his voice dripping with disdain. You cannot defeat me, I am power incarnate.
He swatted them aside like insects. They barely escaped with their lives. Section 5. The Price of Power. They were battered, bruised, their spirits shaken. They had never faced such raw power. Fear threatened to consume them. They had given everything, and it hadn't been enough.
We can't win, he's too strong.
She clutched her wounded arm, her face pale. Despair threatened to engulf them.
We have to try again, we can't give up.
But even she sounded unsure. They needed a new plan. Brute force wasn't enough.
The Force Crystal. We need to understand its true power.
He was right. They had been fighting as individuals. But what if they were meant to fight as one? Section 6. The Lesson. They gathered around their campfire, their faces grim, the weight of the world heavy on their shoulders. The prophecy echoed in their minds. The Force Crystal was the key. But how?
The texts. They talk about unity, synergy.
He looked at each of them, his gaze intense.
We need to combine the Force Crystal's power.
They had been so focused on their individual abilities, they hadn't considered the true potential of the Force Crystal. Their pieces weren't just fragments, they were part of a whole. They spent days experimenting, trying different combinations. Their initial attempts were clumsy. The different energies clashed, creating chaotic bursts of uncontrolled power. It was frustrating, but they couldn't give up. Too much was at stake. Section 7. The Search. They needed more information. The ancient texts mentioned hidden chambers within the Temple of Forces, chambers that held the secrets of the Force Crystal. They had to find them. The journey to the temple was treacherous. Morak's forces were everywhere. The land itself seemed to fight them, but they persevered. Their bond, forged in battle and despair, held them together. Zara, using her heightened senses, led them through hidden paths. Rai, with her warrior's instincts, defended them from ambushes. Orion's healing touch mended their wounds. Kai, ever the strategist, devised ways to outsmart their enemies. And Lina, her power growing, blasted through any obstacle they couldn't overcome. They were learning to work together, to anticipate each other's moves. Finally, they reached the Temple of Forces. It was an ancient structure, older than time itself, emanating a strange energy. The air crackled with power. This was the place. The Temple of Forces was a labyrinth of twisting corridors and hidden chambers. It tested not only their physical strength but their minds and spirits. Ancient traps designed to ensnare the unworthy lay in wait, but they had come too far to give up. In the heart of the temple they found it, the Chamber of Unity. It was bathed in an ethereal light. In the center, a pedestal awaited the Force Crystal. As they approached, the walls came alive. The inscriptions told the story of the Force Crystal. Its creation, its power, its purpose. It was a weapon, yes, but also a key. A key to unlock a power even greater than Morak's, the power of unity. The inscription above the pedestal shone the brightest. It read, "When hearts and minds unite, true power is unleashed." They looked at each other, understanding dawning in their eyes. This wasn't just about combining their powers, it was about combining their strengths, their spirits. They stood in a circle, the Force Crystal pieces glowing brightly in their hands. They had come so far, lost so much, but in this moment they were united, they were ready. Lina placed her blue gem on the pedestal. A surge of energy pulsed outwards. Kai followed with the green gem, then Rai with the red, Zara with the yellow. And finally, Orion gently placed the purple gem. The temple hummed with power. The 5 gems merged, their light blending into a blinding white. The air crackled with energy. A wave of pure force erupted from the pedestal, engulfing them. They weren't individuals anymore. They were one, connected by a power ancient and vast, the true power of the Force Crystal. When the light subsided, they were different, stronger, more connected. They could feel each other's thoughts, their emotions. Their powers flowed together, seamlessly. They were ready to face Morak. They found Morak where they had left him, still reveling in his perceived victory. He hadn't expected them to survive, let alone return. And he certainly hadn't expected the power they now wielded.
You think you can defeat me? You are nothing but ants before a storm.
He attacked, his power even greater than before. But this time they were ready. They moved as one, their attacks fluid and precise. They anticipated his every move, countered his every blow. The power of the Force Crystal flowed through them, amplifying their abilities, their connection. Morak, used to facing divided enemies, was caught off guard. Their unity, their strategy, was something he couldn't comprehend, let alone overcome. He faltered, his attacks becoming wild, desperate. The battle raged, shaking the very foundations of the world, but the warriors never wavered. They fought with the strength of their unity, the power of their combined will. Finally, with a combined blast of energy, they struck Morak down. He roared in defiance, his form flickering, threatening to reform, but this time it was different. The Force Crystal, fueled by their unity, was stripping away his power, preventing his regeneration. With a final agonizing scream, Morak was vanquished, reduced to dust, scattered by the wind. The threat was over, for now. They knew evil never truly dies, but they were ready. They had learned the hard way that true strength wasn't found in individual power, but in unity, strategy, and trust. They were the guardians of the Force Crystal, the protectors of their world, and they would be ready when Morak inevitably returned.